In the next 5 minutes, you'll know exactly how CVE 2025-59287 works, why your WSUS server could be used against you, and the one query you can paste into your SIEM today to catch it. Welcome back, friends. Quick promise, this is practical, fast, no fluff. We handled a real incident with this RCE last week, so I'm giving you the simplified playbook I wish every team had. Here's our story. Setup, a normal Windows update system. Complication, a deserialization bug that turns WSUS into a pre-auth RCE. Inside, the telltale patterns attackers leave behind: action, patch, block ports, the 8530, 8531, and drop one detection that actually works. Stay with me for this gold coin in about 2 minutes. I'll show you the weird IIS log string synchronization update errors key and the exact process chain w3wp.exe, command exe, and PowerShell exe that screams exploitation. Everyone's patching. The real fails I'm seeing are missed logs and open ports. I'll show you the pattern so you don't miss it. Specifics for credibility, because quite vague means forgettable. CWE 2025-59287, CWE 502, CVS 9.8. We're talking about matter attack reference technique T1190 when internet exposed, and event IDs 4688 and 4104 for process script logging. So the endpoints to watch, well, the WSUS SOAP.asmx services, and yes, we'll copy paste the KQL you can run right away. This is a scary pre-auth path to system, but if you watch for that child process chain and block 8530, 8531 from the outside, you'll catch most real-world attempts before they spread. Here's a quick community moment. Our daily signal crew dropped 2 fresh IOCs. I'll add the best one from this video to the description. Let's build the defenders shortlist together, so share if you can. So if you're willing to add the detection rule today, you can type checked in the comments so others know that they are not alone. And I'll leave one open question on the table as we dive in. Will we see attackers push persistence via WSUS approvals at scale, or will detections kill that path early? I'll track it and update you in the pinned comments. All right, ready? Slide 2, we move into what actually happened in very few minutes, and with exact fields and exploit paths that were seen for this CW. You saw the promise on the previous slide. Now let me show you what actually happened, fast and specific. This CVE is a pre-auth remote code execution bug in WSUS. Think of it as a way to send a poison soap package and have the WSUS server run it as system. The root cause is unsafe deserialization, classic CWE 502, where WSUS used .NET binary formatter / SOAP formatter on untrusted data. That's the technical smoking gun. The score and severity is now measured at CVSS 9.8, so pretty big. This is not theoreticals. Attackers can execute code remotely without credentials over the network. The targets and hotspots basically are the WSUS SOAP endpoints, so the reporting web service ASMX, and the client web service client.asmx. the API remoting 30/webservice.asmx, and the usual WSUS ports 8530, so the HTTP, 8531 HTTPS. If those endpoints are reachable, you are in a danger zone. How the exploit behaves in the wild. Basically, attackers send crafted requests that carry a malicious serialized object. So the WSUS process deserializes it and runs it, resulting in process chains that we have seen. So W3 WP or WSUS service going into command.exe, going into PowerShell.exe. This parent-child chain is a red flag you want to hunt for. Public CVE, an initial patch hit in mid-October, a POC landed soon after, and Microsoft had to push an out-of-band fix later the same month. That speed is why this went from paper to real attacks so fast. I'll link all the relevant KBs in the description below. Mini gold coin right here. So one reliable sign of exploitation is a WSUS process spawning a common shell or PowerShell session. That's abnormal and actionable. So if you see that, assume compromise and isolate. So this the giving system role is quite scary, but you're not helpless. If WSUS is not internet reachable and you block 8530, 8531 from untrusted IP, you remove basically the easiest attack path. Patch, then harden. If you have WSUS enabled in your environment, you can tap, if you feel like, of course, patched in the chat when you have applied the OOB update. It helps everyone see momentum growing. In the following slide, I'll show you exactly blast radius and who's affected, including a quick map of where WSUS typically lives in. So here's who's actually at risk and why it matters to you. If you run WSUS, you are in scope, of course. That's Windows Server 2012, 2016, 2019, 2022, and newer builds with the WSUS role installed. If the role isn't installed, you are not directly exposed. The ConfigMgr folks, this includes you as well. The software update point runs on WSUS under the hood, so SCCM environments are effectively in scope too. Now the uncomfortable part actually. A lot of WSUS servers are reachable from the internet. So if ports 8530 or 8531 answer from outside, attackers can hit the SOAP endpoints directly. If yours is internet facing, treat it as high risk right now. Even if WSUS is internal only, you are still a prime target. So once someone gets a foothold inside your network, WSUS is a fast lane to system and a trusted path to many endpoints. One server compromise can turn into organization-wide trouble. Here's a quick concrete check you can do today. On your WSUS host, look at the IIS site bindings for 8530, 8531. If they are bound to 0.0.0.0 or a public IP, lock that down to internal ranges only. Good news is you have control. If you can't patch yet, block 8530, 8531 at the perimeter or temporarily disable WSUS role until the update and reboot are done. That single move shuts the easiest door. If you know you have WSUS in your environment, you can drop the word WSUS if you feel like in the comments, so we can see how many of us are, tackling and fighting this today. I'll add any helpful tips from the thread to the description. And if you have anything else you want to add, please, comment on this video. Next, I'll map exactly where this sits in the kill chain and how attackers ride WSUS from exploitation to impact. so you can spot it early and stop it. Let's place this now in the attack chain so you can spot it fast and shut it down. If your WSUS is reachable, this is an initial access via matter attack T1190, so called exploit public facing applications. The attacker sends a crafted SOAP request to the WSUS.asmx endpoints and the port, of course, the 8530, 8531, and the LAN code execution without credentials. That's the front door. The moment code runs, we move into execution, typically T1059 command and scripting interpreter. In real incidents, the tail is the process chain. As we said, w3wp.exe or wsusservice.exe into command.exe into PowerShell.exe. Remember that pattern. I'll give you a copy-paste hunt for it quite shortly. Right after execution comes discovery and credential access. You'll see quick recon. Who am I? Where am I? What domain am I in? Often with PowerShell one-liners. If the box has juicy credentials cached, that's where the attacker grabs them. From there, two dangerous branches. First, lateral movement. Use systems on WSUS to pivot deeper. Second, persistence and impact, unique to this service. Abuse WSUS. So abuse WSUS trust basically to approve or push malicious content to many endpoints. That's your potential supply chain inside the org. Your gold coins for detection are basically here, about to come, the ISS logs, watch CS method equal post, to the reporting web service.asmx page with large bodies, and in the Windows log, watch event ID 4688 for that parent-child chain, plus the event ID 4104 for PowerShell script blocks. One more clue I'll unpack later, a strange key in requests tied to sync errors. Hang on for that. Yeah, so this is all scary because it's pre-auth, but you have control. If WSUS is not exposed and you alert on this chain, W3WP command PowerShell, you'll catch most real-world attempts. Up next, I'll time box the story, just to give you some timeline context, the disclosure, the POC, the out-of-band patch, and when exploitation kicked off, so you can line up your logs with exact dates. In the next 60 seconds, so match your logs to 5 timestamps and you will know if you were in the blast radius. So we have October 14, 2025. Microsoft publishes the CVE and ships the first fix. It turns out to be incomplete, but this is the moment your patch records should show movement. October 22, a public technical write-up and proof of concept lands. That's when scanning spikes. Check perimeter logs from this date onward for hits on port 8530, 8531. October 23rd, 2025. Time is 11:34 UTC. First, confirm exploitation in the wild. If you have EDR, pivot on process creation around this time window. Look for w3wp.exe or WSUS service spawning command and PowerShell. Then we have October 23 or 23rd, 2025, later that day, we have Microsoft pushing out the out-of-band patch. Your change ticket should show install and reboot. No reboot, no fix, remember that, double check it always. October 24th, 2025, CISA adds the CVE to the known exploited list. US federal agencies are told to remediate by November 14, 2025. Treat that date as your outside deadline too. The gold coin for hunters is filtering IIS W3C logs for posts to reporting web service.asmx with large request bodies between October 22nd and October 26th. That's the noisy window most orgs solve. We'll talk then impact. We'll talk now in the next slide the so what and why a single WSUS server can turn into a network-wide problem if you miss those dates. WSUS is a crown jewel box. It runs a system, it talks to every window machine, and those machines trust what it says. That turns a single RCE into a platform for spreading code fast. Think about approvals. If an attacker controls approvals, they can push a fake update or a script to many endpoints at once. That's how one breach becomes a company-wide incident in minutes. Impact is not just technical, it's downtime, lost revenue, and a very bad week for IT. So now imagine 500 laptops pulling a poison update at 9 AM. Your help desk melts, your SOC scrambles, and the projects stop. If you ever see a sudden spike in WSUS approvals outside your normal change window, treat it as a siren. Approvals don't randomly jump. People or attackers make them jump. There's also spread risk actually. In some networks, WSUS servers are chained upstream to downstream. Compromise the upstream and you can cascade trouble downstream. One too many, then many too many. Triaging gets tricky after the out-of-band patch because some sync error details is now hidden by design. That's fine for stability, of course, but it means hunting relies more on IIS logs, event ID 4688 for process starts and 4104 for PowerShell script blocks. We open that door back in the timeline, use those exact fields now. Loss aversion plus control. Yes, this is a pre-auth to system, but you have levers. Keep WSUS off the internet. Block ports 8530 and 8531 from untrusted sources, and alert on the chain that we have seen. W3WP, I'm repeating it, command and PowerShell. Do those three things and you cut most real-world routes to impact. The second gold coin is if you run ConfigMgr, remember that software update point rides on WSUS, as we said earlier. If SUP is unhealthy or noisy today, don't ignore it. Validate patch level and bindings right now. I will give you next in the next slide the 0-24-hour playbook, patch, block, verify, and one-hand query you can paste into your SIEM before this video ends. So here's the playbook. Do this in order and you will sleep better tonight. Step 1, install the October 23rd out-of-band patch on every WSUS server, then reboot. Remember, no reboot, no fix. If you're not sure it took, check the service patch level right after this video. Step 2, if you can't patch right now, block ports 8530, 8531 at the perimeter on that host, or temporarily disable the WSUS role. That buys you safety until the update is in. Step 3, remove internet exposure. So WSUS should be internal only. In IIS binding, make sure 8530, 8531 are bound to internal IPs, not the 4 zeros or a public address. Step 4, enforce HTTPS on 8531 with a valid certificate and require SSL on WSUS virtual directories. It won't stop the specific bug, but it hardens the edges you rely on. Step 5, rotate service credentials tied to WSUS and capture a quick snapshot or backup for forensics. If something looks off later, you'll be glad you did. Step 6, turn on the right logs. Confirm event ID 4688 for process starts and 4104 for PowerShell script blocks on the WSUS host. and make sure IIS W3C logs are forwarding to your SIEM. Step 7, hunt immediately for the parent-child chain we discussed, and if you see it, isolate first, ask questions second. Step 8, the sanity check approval. Any spike outside your change window deserves attention. If approvals jump today and no one on your team owns it, treat that as a siren. Next slide will be a bit more technical, give you some copy-paste detections, KQL for MDE and Splunk search that capture the chain we discussed earlier, plus one IIS log filter that flags the big payloads. So stay with me, gold coins incoming. The copy-paste detections are in the video description. Feel free to grab them. Open it now so you can paste them while I talk. First, what these rules catch. We are hunting the process chain we teased earlier. So we go from a W3 WP or WSUS service into command and then PowerShell, or pwsh, or sometimes curl.exe or bitsadmin.exe right after. That's not normal on a WSUS box, and that's our signal. Your SIEM queries in the description look for that chain using event ID 4688 for process starts and 4104 for PowerShell script blocks. If you don't see 4688 and 4104 on your WSUS host, turn them on after this video and rerun the hunts. Next, the IIS angle. You'll see a ready filter that flags big post requests to the reporting web service .asmx and other WSUS.asmx endpoints on ports 8530, 8531. Watch for unusual user agents and payload size spikes. And yes, we include the odd key we mentioned earlier, the synchronization update errors key, so you don't have to remember it. Network tells are in there too. If the child process chain reaches out to unknown domains or IPs, especially quick hits to webhook collectors, for example, treat it as a high confidence suspicious. The hunt includes that pivot. Quick turning tips so you don't drown in noise: add your maintenance windows as an allow list. Tag known admin tools, and if you run ConfigMgr, note that some legitimate actions still shouldn't spawn command PowerShell from W3WP. Keep that parent-child requirement, it cuts false positives fast. How to use this right now? Well, paste the hunts, run a 7-day look back, then rerun for October 22 to 26th to cover the first exploitation window we mapped on the timeline. And any hits? Well, isolate first, ask questions second. Now we'll talk, we'll move a bit far away from the technical side. We'll talk motives with a cool head. Who benefits from this bug, how they monetize it, and what that means for where you should spend your next hour. We follow the money and keep it simple. Who benefits from a WSUS RCE and why now? First, the criminal angle. This part is informed, but still speculative. If I can turn your update server into my delivery system, I get one-to-many reach in minutes. That's perfect for ransomware crews. Approve a fake update, hit hundreds of endpoints, double extort with speed. Low effort, high payoff. That's why you see fast weaponization right after public POCs. The return of investment is obvious. Now the nation-state angle, also speculative. If I want long-term access to a government or a regulated enterprise, WSUS is a quiet door. I can live inside your trusted channel, pick which machines I touch, and blend into normal update traffic. That's stealth, selectivity, and persistence all in one place. What ties both motives together is leverage. WSUS sits at the center of trust. Break the hub, own the spokes. That's why we emphasized approvals and process chains earlier. Those two things turn intent into impact. Here's a tell you can watch for that maps to motives. Big, sudden changes in approvals with no matching change tickets suggest a criminal blast. Subtle, targeted approvals against admin workstation or servers suggest an espionage, stay quiet approach. Same tool, different tempo. You might also see odd infrastructure choices after execution. Quick hits to throw away webhook collectors smells like smash and grab. Slow, periodic beacons to niche infrastructures smells like patient access. Again, different money trails, different rhythms. Here's your gold coin for this slide. If you run ConfigMgr, compare your normal WSUS approval cadence to the last 7 days. Any spike equals attention. Any approvals outside your maintenance window equals attention. It's a 2-minute check that pays for itself. A trusted channel in the wrong hands definitely is scary. But when you pair port blocking and the child process hunt from the last slide with a simple approvals audit, you take away the fastest money move criminals rely on, and you raise the cost for quiet operators. Quick community moment. If you find an approvals anomaly today without sharing sensitive details, of course, drop found one in the comments and describe the pattern. I'll add the most useful patterns to the pinned notes later on so everyone benefits. Open question, not a prediction. We will see persistence through WSUS approvals become common, or will detection shut that route down? I'll track real-world cases and update the pinned notes as they land. Next, I'll show you how to harden the architecture in the next 72 hours. So this isn't just a hunt sprint, it's a lasting fix. So let's turn the quick fixes into a durable setup you can trust over the next 72 hours. Start by treating WSUS like a crown jewel service. Move it to a management VLAN. Take it off flat networks and require admin access through a jump host. If an attacker can't even reach it, all the clever payloads we discussed earlier don't matter. Enforce HTTPS only, find WSUS to port 8531 with a valid certificate, as we said, and require SSL on the WSUS virtual directories you actually use. So client web service, reporting web service, API remoting 30, server sync web service, and DSS auth web service. Keep 8530 port disabled unless you have a documented reason. Again, tighten the front door in IIS binding, pin 8531 to an internal IP, not the 4 zeros, and not to public IPs. In firewalls, allow only known client ranges and management subnets. At the perimeter, no exposure at all. If you have downstream WSUS servers, put those links in trusted network paths only. Raise the signal on the box. We already used the process chain hunt, so now make it persistent. Enable and forward event ID 4688 for process starts and 4104 for PowerShell script blocks from the WSUS host. Ship IIS W3C logs to your SIEM and keep 30 days of them at least. add an alert for any child of w3wp.exe or WSUS service.exe that launches command or PowerShell or PWSH or curl, exe or bitsadmin. Harden the service identity. Rotate service credentials used by WSUS and Configuration Manager software update point. Remove local admin rights that are not needed. If WSUS runs under a domain service account, scope its permission to the minimum set and protect it with labs or your secret vault. Govern approvals like a change to production. Define your maintenance window and make approvals outside that window noisy. Keep a daily export of approvals so you can diff history. If you change WSUS upstream and downstream, audit both sides. What's approved upstream flows downstream. Plan for a bad day. Write down exactly how you would isolate WSUS, rebuild it clean, and verify client integrity before resuming syncs. So keep a known good baseline image and a checklist for post-rebuild tasks. Certificate binding, SSL enforcement, logging, and the detections you pasted from the description. Do a quick dependency sweep. If you run ConfigMgr, verify that the SUP, software update points, patches, and bindings match what we just said on WSUS. If anything in SUP still talks clear text or broad IPs, close it. Finally, lock in two automations. 1. A weekly test that confirms ports, bindings, and SSL on WSUS are still correct. 2. A schedule hunt for the parent-child process chain and for large posts to the WSUS.asmx endpoints. Alerts go to the on-call channel, not a quiet inbox. Next, we'll then wrap with a quick thank you and your action recap. You made it until the end. Nice work. In the last few minutes, you learn what CVE 2025-59 towards 87 is, where it sits in the kill chain, the exact parent-child process pattern to hunt, the dates that matter, and the fastest way to lock down WSUS. Patch and reboot, block 8530, 8531 from the outside, paste the hunts from the description, and sanity check approvals. Do those today and you cut most real-world risk. Hit like if this saved you time, subscribe if you want more news and practical incidents playbooks, and share this with the teammate who owns WSUS or ConfigMgr. It takes 10 seconds and it can prevent a really bad day. Again, the open question I'm tracking: will attackers lean into WSUS approvals for persistence, or will detections shut that down? Again, I'll update the pinned comments as your new intel lands, including tweaks to the hunts and any fresh IOCs from you guys. Thank you for watching, for protecting your orgs, and for teaching each other in the comments. I am Max, Point Break Security, and I'll see you in the next video. Short, practical, and focused on turning scary bugs and actors into simple actions that you can take today to protect yourself and your company. Bye for now.